He's angry about mortgages. It's Angry Mortgage. He's swearing. He's cursing loud. He's old. He's opinionated. And he's been doing this so damn long. This program is about mortgages, and this is mortgage advice, but the advice may not apply to your situation. Contact licensed mortgage professionals for specific recommendations before you make decisions about mortgages. You may not agree with Ron, but if you don't, he thinks you're wrong. Oh, and did we say there is a lot of swearing?
And we're back.
We're back.
So we got to admit, there is this debate over banter. You know, like.
Is that what the chatter comment was?
That's what that was. We were getting some comments. We got some comments on the podcast. We appreciate all your comments because hey, if it's a nasty comment, we just delete you for life. Okay,
kick rocks, kid.
Yeah, that's it. You got it. But we do appreciate the comments. But it was like this odd contrast. You know, like we have when we're talking like at the beginning of the show like this. We have some people who will comment, hey, we don't care about your banter. We don't care about your back and forth bullshit.
We skip through.
Skip through and just tell us about mortgages, fuckers. Yeah. Okay? Like, we do get those.
I feel like we got an overwhelming reaction of people who wanted more.
I mean, yes, suddenly when we say we're going to try to cut back the banter, we got all the, no, we love the banter.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know what? I think we've learned we just can't please everyone.
Look, we love our audience. But come on, actually, we do. I mean, why? The only reason to do it is for the audience, right?
Yes.
I mean,
yeah.
That's it. I mean, so
they're the ones watching, right?
And some people, and look, I'm so mean most of the time. Maybe we should have really started about like instead of angry mortgage, maybe it should have been mean mortgage.
Mean mortgage.
Mean mortgage. Sometimes I'm more mean than angry.
Mean mortgage mugging.
Yeah, exactly. So, but you know, the staff, as we talked about the other day, the staff wanted abusive mortgage.
Abusive
but yeah,
you know what? We agreed that would flag.
That was out. That was not going to work on Spotify and Apple. I mean, Apple's so woke, you're never going to get that through. Okay?
No.
So, like, what's Apple going to do if Diddy's convicted? I mean, they're gonna have to blow all the music out completely, or
no? I don't think so, because R. Kelly songs are still on Spotify.
Are they? Oh, you're
they
kidding.
are, but his victims, they get royalties from his music.
Oh man,
yeah.
I mean, we'll
pretty sure. Fact check me.
If Diddy's convicted, will they have to pay the royalties to the baby oil company? I mean, I'm just trying to figure this out.
Which, by the way, Costco said we don't sell that. So we'll see. Johnson & Johnson's probably pretty upset.
By the way, folks, we're not
endorsing it.
This is probably going to be the first and only time we talk about Diddy because it's so gross.
We don't want to get into the freak off details.
No. Like I'm a bad guy, but I can't even take that stuff too much. I mean, like, it's just too much. I can't.
No, I'm not mentally prepared for that.
No, I'm not up for it. So, all right, well, that's enough disgusting banter for now. So, okay, look.
Everyone got their fix.
Yeah,
let's move on.
They got their banter fix. All right, so the big news this week, and we've covered it in other social media, is that essentially, just to sum it up, and I crave simplicity, so to be simple, the people who govern the banks and govern the way mortgages work, which is CMHC on one side, and the other side is OSFI. OSFI is the Office of the Superintendent of Financial Institutions. It's a long name. I'm sure they're going to change the name someday, make it easier.
OSFI, yeah.
And the boss there is Peter Rutledge. And what's happened is the Department of Finance, and this, I want to get this over with too, because there's a basic misunderstanding here. Yes, the bank regulator is independent, but the bank regulator is directly under the Department of Finance. Okay. The Bank of Canada is truly supposed to be independent. Like, they are supposed to be absolutely free of influence. But folks, OSFI, the bank regulator, is a direct agency under the Department of Finance. So if the Department of Finance, the reason it should be some independence is that we don't want, if the bank regulator finds out there's something wrong going on at a bank, they don't want the Department of Finance to be able to step in and say, oh, yeah, I think you should keep that quiet. Okay, that's bad. Okay.
Yeah.
But when the Department of Finance thinks that the OFSI is doing something totally fucking stupid, then they stop and say, that's stupid. Okay,
Yeah.
fix this. That's not interference. Okay. So let's just be clear. It's an agency under the Department of Finance. The Department of Finance does not interfere with investigations or any of that stuff. But when it comes to policy, the Department of Finance gets to decide what the fuck's going on within, within reason.
Within their limits. Yeah, yeah.
Correct. So what the Department of Finance decided was that the bank regulators' rule about stress test on renewals was fucking dumb. Okay.
Isn't a renewal like they don't even need to check if you're still working? Like they just send you the form. They're like, here you go, renew your mortgage. But you have to qualify for this trust test.
You nailed it. you absolutely nailed it.
Ridiculous.
The way renewals work in Canada is that the bank, so your 5 years is up. So it was 5 years ago you got your mortgage, and the month of November your mortgage is up. Let's use that as an example. The bank in September prepares their computer prepares a renewal.
Yeah.
Here's all the different terms you can have: 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, variable, whatever the bank can offer. And here's the different rates we're offering you on that if you sign up to these. Pick the rate, sign the box, tick the box, initial the box, sign the form. That's the renewal. It's over.
That's it.
The bank does not. People say, well, is there a credit check done? In some cases, there's a soft pull because the bank must make sure you're not a bankrupt.
Fair. That's important.
There's a few minor things. But the bank actually, in theory, they don't care about your credit rating. But maybe they do care, because maybe if they see a bad credit rating, they'll think, well, we got this person.
Missing payments,
they can't go anywhere else. But it's really about missing payments with the bank. If you are in arrears at the bank cannot offer you a renewal. That's the rule. If you're in arrears with the bank, you could have stopped paying credit cards with other banks, and they'll give you a renewal. And this is the most important thing. The bank will not even ask if you're working. The bank you're with, who sends you that renewal offer, they're not asking you if you're working. They're not checking your income. They're not doing anything. Okay?
So they're going based off, let's say you did your 5-year employee letter from 5 years ago?
No, they're just not doing anything.
So they didn't even go based off that.
And by the way, that's a policy of the government. The government. The government correctly recognized that because we're not like the U.S., we don't sell 15-year mortgages. We don't sell 25-year mortgages. We don't sell 30-year mortgages. We sell 30-year amortization, but we don't sell 30-year terms or 25-year terms or 15-year terms. So the government wisely realized, if we completely re-underwrite everybody every 3 or 5 years, we will have total fucking chaos. Yeah. Okay, it's nuts. Okay, like
it's very messy. Yeah.
It's not just extra work for the banks. It's like, oh yeah, you better sell now. Yeah, no one will give you a mortgage now because you're not employed today. Well, I got a job. I got to go for some interviews. I got some. No, fuck off. You got to sell your house. That doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah,
okay, so yes, that's the way it works in Canada. You get a renewal offer as long as you're up to date with your payments to the bank on your mortgage. You get an offer. Nobody checks on anything. But what the government up till now has been saying is, if you want to shop around, look for a better deal, you had a rate of, say, 2.5, and your new offer is 5%.
Ouch.
Right? Ouch. And you checking around and you find out that bank X or Y is 4.25. That's a hell of a savings, right?
Yeah.
And that's like maybe a 3-year or 5-year multiplied savings. It's big money. And you say, okay, I want to switch to you, new bank. And they say, well, you're close, but because of the stress test, we got to apply the stress test, which may be on that 4.25 rate. Now it's 6.25, okay? And at 6.25, you just don't quite make it on the qualification,
yeah.
okay? which is fucking nuts because we got Bank A, who's your incumbent bank. They didn't even ask you whether you were fucking working, and they still offered you. There's no stress test. They don't know whether you're working or not, okay?
Right.
There's no test. It's nothing, okay? Just here, sign here. And the other bank is forced to do a stress test. So I've been saying for years, quite publicly, quite directly, I've actually suggested that Peter Rutledge was a bullshitter, okay? Because Peter Rutledge said, oh, no, we're not, it's not anti-competitive, and all mortgages should be stress tested. Wait a minute, Peter fucking Rutledge. Like, hold on a minute. Like, this isn't like you're going out and buying a house, right? Because we better make sure you've stress tested. We better make sure you can afford it. You're buying something.
In that scenario, makes sense.
Totally.
But you're giving them the upper hand.
Well, in this renewal situation, 100% the upper hand to the existing bank. Oh, and wait a second. I'll give you another one. Let's say that you go to your bank, you say, I want to take out another 100,000. I want to add to my mortgage. Yes, we should stress test that because we got to make sure you can really afford it and afford it in the future.
For sure.
But all we're saying here is, hey, I got a mortgage for 400 grand. I want to switch it to this next bank for exactly 400 grand, not a penny more. And I just want to get a better rate. And Peter Rutledge is saying, well, that's a big deal. We better stress test you. No, fuck you, Peter Rutledge. No, okay?
You should allow them to save a little bit more money.
It's just fair consumerism. Simple. Look, what do we hear all the time? That we need more competition amongst banks. So why wouldn't we do this, right? There's no risk. Listen, everybody who's going to start commenting, I think I can just hear some guy out in the audience wants to put in the comment, oh, I think you're wrong. I think there's considerably more risk. No risk. Sorry, no, stop it, okay?
If they meet all the criteria. They haven't missed payments. They're good
but remember,
to go.
On the new bank is looking at those job letters. It's looking at those pay stubs.
Exactly.
It's even appraising the house to make sure the value's still good, okay?
Like, if anything, doesn't that make that mortgage even more secure?
100%. It's a much lower risk because the new mortgage company who's offering the lower rate fully underwrites.
Yep.
Whereas the old bank who's offering the shit rate doesn't even know whether you're working.
They don't even know if you're alive.
Well, somebody's got to sign. So maybe like that weekend at Weekend at Bernie's with the dead guy. They stick a pen in the guy's hand and they just it's pretty totally fucking crazy. All right.
Well, with mortgage fraud nowadays, I wouldn't even be surprised.
All right, so it's a good thing. Look, we got to believe in consumerism. We got to be thinking more about fear monopolies, more competition amongst businesses. I mean, what the fuck? We're in a country that has maybe 2.5 telecoms and internet providers. Like, that's ridiculous. Okay.
Yeah.
Most expensive in the world. We got basically when you merge all the different bullshit names they're using, we basically got 3 grocery chains in the whole country.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Jesus.
Everything is just so that's what allows them to just rake up the prices, right?
Exactly. So
yeah.
Okay, look, and I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. I want to say it publicly. There's 2 guys in the Department of Finance. They know who they are. And I spoke to them, and they are the guys who made sure this happened. To be honest with you, Minister Freeland's, she even knew it really happened. But she might have said, she might have looked at it, the recommendation, said, okay. But these 2 people who know you are, I will always give thanks where thanks is due, okay? Like, people say, well, Ron, you just bash the government all the time. And there's some pretty fucking good reasons I believe I have, okay?
Yes, of course.
But when they do something right, the people I know, I met the people who are involved, and it's a solid thank you to those people because it helps Canadians save money.
Yeah.
So thank you. It's as simple as that. All right. So I got I told you rates were coming down, right? We talk about it like basically every single fucking week. We talk about mortgage rates coming down. So now 399 is everywhere.
Yeah.
399 5-year CMHC. It's only for CMHC insured mortgages. Really only for purchases right now. That's it. So it's a really narrow path. It's 5-year fixed. It's purchase only. It's CMHC. So your house is less than $1 million. In December, it'll be more. We'll get to that. But it's less than $1 million. You got to hit all the you tick all the boxes. Not easy to get. Okay. It's still only about 8% of the mortgages in the country. And I think in Ontario, it's less than that. So
When are we going to see conventional mortgages start with a 3?
I think soon.
Yeah.
I think soon.
Maybe for like the spring market.
Maybe even a little sooner, but definitely in 2025. Definitely, because there's an excellent chance there will be a 50 basis point rate cut. So we've had 3 25 basis points, which is 0.25%. Had 3 in a row. The U.S. Fed, the United States Federal Reserve, their central bank, their equivalent of the Bank of Canada, they hadn't done any cuts, but they just jumped out to 0.5%. Boom. Boom. Yeah. Jay Powell comes out. 0.5%. Yeah, it's coming down. Okay. Ooh, look at that. Someone's worried.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and Tiff Macklin, I won't do the voice. Not today. Okay, I won't do the voice. We don't have the puppet today. I keep promising we'll get the Muppet back. Okay?
Yeah. We got to get him that suit, remember?
Like when I was in Ottawa last week, I was in Ottawa, right?
Should have brought the damn Muppet with you.
Well, I'll tell you, it's weird. We walked past the Bank of Canada.
Yeah?
We walked past that building.
Tiff?
Well, one of the people who were with me, because it was a group of us visiting with different people in Parliament, and one of them points to a window and says, hey, look, Ron, that's Tiff giving you the finger up in the window up there.
Oh, my God.
It was not.
That
was bullshit. It was funny.
So funny.
It was funny at the time, anyway. So anyway, so Tiff Macklin actually, the Bank of Canada governor, actually said last week that week before, said that he would consider a 0.5% cut. Now, I got a feeling that if you see the guy in the States do 0.5%, and you also see your economy in Canada going to rat shit, okay?
You would definitely consider it.
Well, particularly if you open your mouth and say you might.
Yeah.
Like, it's always a game, right? It's a game. Like, first, you got to set expectations. So if he's never done it or he didn't talk about doing it, it's like before you do it, you have to talk about the possibility of it.
Yeah.
So that it's out there. So, yeah, we've got I think we've got 8 out of 10 big bank economists are saying, there's going to be a 0.5% cut this year. Like this year. CNBC came out and said they thought there would be 250 basis point cuts this year. So 2 meetings in a row, like a drop of 1% by the end of the year. So I'm not sure that will happen.
Ambitious.
It's ambitious. Yeah, I'm not sure that will happen. But what is clear is there will be more cuts faster. So to your question, when will a bunch of mortgages, not just this very narrow CMHC insured 5-year fixed mortgage be 3.99, when will a lot of mortgages start with a 3? I think that's soon.
Yeah.
I think we'll see it by December. We'll see end of November, beginning of December. We'll see a bunch of them because we're going to get a cut at the end of October. I'm betting that my bet is that's a 0.5 basis point cut. We had some lousy job numbers last week out of the States. They had some good numbers too. Like their GDP numbers were pretty good, but like certain jobs numbers were continuously down. So I think we're going to see lower bond yields, lower Canadian bond yields. They dropped. I mean, then they dropped. They perked up a little, but it's never linear, right?
Yeah.
Never a straight line. But it looks like we're going to see lower bond yields, which equal lower fixed rates. And end of November, beginning of December, I'm thinking we're seeing a lot of stuff with a 3. But the high 3s, obviously high 3s.
Still, a win is a win.
It's a win. So if you locked in, if you had to choke back 6.29 14 months ago, you're thinking, Jesus, this is. So we'll talk about
significant.
We're going to talk about that in another show. We're going to talk about when will you decide to break. If you're stuck in a 6.929 mortgage, when do you decide to break? How do you figure it out? How do you calculate it? We're going to cover that. Not today, another show. We're going to go into great detail. But what I do keep telling everybody is, if you can, because sometimes when people are getting a renewal or they're buying a house, they just feel they need to take whatever rate delivers the lowest today. What is the lowest rate today? Is that a 3-year at 4.19 or whatever? Like, I just need the lowest rate today. And I can't afford the 5
That's what I was going to say. It's usually when you're in that position, especially like purchasing a home, right? You have a lot of expenses. So the first thing you're going to do is try and save wherever you can.
Correct.
So ideally, naturally, people are going to aim for the lowest rate possible. But you've been mentioning a lot of like variable lately.
Sure.
I was going to say vulnerabilities.
No.
Variable. I was like, wait, that's the wrong word. Variable lately,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely,
So what would you recommend? Like, I mean, probably not a lot of people are doing house purchasing in the winter. Kind of a cycle if you're purchasing in February, but I mean, there's still activity.
There's supposed to be a fall market, right? We're in the fall market, in theory, the fall market right now. So far in Ontario, the fall market's been a dud. Okay,
Yeah.
There's a little bit of like in the last 10 days, we've heard stories of a little bit better. Things have picked up a little bit, but I don't see any. Nobody could say that there's a definitive burst of activity.
No.
Now, when the new rules come in with CMHC next year, and when we have even further rate cuts next year, because the rates are not going to stop going down at the end of the year. They're going to keep going. But I do want to touch on this variable idea because it's important to understand it. Yes, it's higher today. Yes, it's higher. But it gives you the opportunity when you're in variable, which will drop and drop and drop and drop through the course of the next year. This year and next year, it'll drop and drop and drop and drop. And what ends up happening is it goes down, while at the same time, if you have a variable rate mortgage, you have the flexibility to lock in anytime.
Right.
So sometime in the spring, it's looking like, if you just follow the trajectory right now, it's looking like sometime this spring, you're going to be able to get a 5-year mortgage of virtually any kind for somewhere between, I don't know, 359 and 379. So if you took a 3-year at 419 today, that's going to be a problem. If you could have got a 5-year for 369,
right,
in
saving
April,
a significant amount of
so
money.
I'm going to give you an example. So let me imagine somebody wants to buy a flat screen TV,
right?
Okay, so they go into Best Buy or wherever. I'm not trying to favor Best Buy, wherever the hell you go.
Say Radio Shack.
Whatever. Wait, is there a Radio Shack still? I don't
That's
know.
why I said let's say Radio Shack.
No, all right. Okay, so you're in a store anyway. You're in a store that specializes in selling televisions and stuff. So, flat screen TV. You want a new one. You look at the one you want. It's great. It's bigger than you have right now. It's sharper color than you have right now. How much? $2,000. Okay, I'll take it. But the guy you're talking to, the gal you're talking to says, but wait. This is going to be part of our this exact TV is going to be part of our big Christmas special. If you would just wait until November 15th, it's like almost October now, but if you just wait until November 15th, you're going to get $400 off this TV. So instead of $2,000, it's $1,600. You're going to save 20%. And you say, no, fuck it. I want to look at a little bit crispier color right now.
Right now, yeah.
Then the salesperson says, wait, sorry, like that's $400, okay?
Yeah.
Just for waiting 6 weeks. So my point to everybody out there is, yes, it's more expensive to take the variable today, but it may be saving you 50 basis points in 7 months. Now, 50 basis points on a mortgage. By the way, I'm not saying you stay variable forever. I'm saying you stay variable to pick the bottom of fixed rate so you can get a very, very good 5-year fixed, which is defense, which is, now I don't have to think about rates for 5 years, which is at as good a rate as I think I can get. So that's like the TV, for God's sakes. Like you spent a little bit too much for 6 months, 7 months, okay? And then you saved money for 60 months, 60. So maybe you spent an extra $5,000 for the higher rates on variable, but maybe if variable goes down fast enough, you only spent an extra $3,800.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you saved $40,000.
That's
for 5
very
years.
significant.
Okay. So Look, I know we're now going to, I can just feel the people typing right now on their phones. They're just going on their phones. You're wrong. I'm going to show you on this Excel spreadsheet how you're going to, like, okay, fuck off. I don't understand, okay?
Yeah.
I know I'm right.
It's not a choice for everyone too, right?
Well, no, if you absolutely have to, yes, you got to qualify.
Yeah.
Perfectly said. Yes, you have to qualify. And then also, you might just have affordability pressures right now.
Right.
Okay. Or you might, all of those things are possible, but for the love of God, please explore the idea.
Know your options.
A variable. Explore it. See if the math works. See if you can handle it. Because you will be rewarded in 7 months. I guarantee you. For sure it'll happen. All right. We got some questions from our listeners and our viewers.
We do. This one says, was putting an offer on a small house in Burnaby, and my real estate agent said there were already multiple offers. What's up with that? I thought real estate was a buyer's market.
Good. But, I was actually born in the Burnaby General.
Oh, yeah?
Long time ago. Yeah. I was born in Burnaby, out in Vancouver. It's a
suburb. So beautiful.
Suburb of Vancouver is Burnaby. It's actually the closest suburb of Vancouver. Well, sorry. The closest suburbs are North and West Van, Burnaby, which is actually just a border. It's just a street. Is the boundary line, and Richmond are all the close places to Vancouver. Vancouver's just a little peninsula, right?
Yeah.
It's land. It's like surrounded by water. Fraser River on one side and Burrard Inlet on the other side. Although maybe they're starting to rename those things. Maybe you gotta call them by a different name soon. I'm not sure. There's a lot of renaming going on in British Columbia. Anyhow. Yeah, well, that's a great question. It is a great question because, we constantly tell people that the real estate market is very slow in Ontario. It has slowed down in British Columbia. It is not anywhere near as busy as it was. Like, it's super slow in Ontario. It's super slow in GTA, Toronto. But it's still like 8-year lows, 10-year lows in BC, in most of Vancouver area, Greater Vancouver. But it's a house, right? Like, we don't realize is every single person who wants to sell a house has their own key price point in mind.
Right.
And they've got their own selling strategy. Okay. I'll tell you, this is a great example. I was online, I was on X, and a realtor put up a tweet that said, I guess I got to call it a post now. You're not allowed to call it a tweet. But anyway, he put up a tweet that said, we had 11 offers on this house. The buyer turned them all down and is relisting at a different price. Wow. Because it's a game. Like, I'm gonna price this. I'm gonna offer this really low and see how many bids I get. Oh fuck! None of the bids are really what I want anyway. Like, don't even come close. Okay. Yeah. But that's a true. That's absolutely factual, by the way. That 11 accepted none. Yeah. And relisting at a higher price. So, look. Therefore, you don't know what the pricing strategy is. You don't, to this question from this individual, house in Burnaby, multiple offers, sure. If that listing goes out at a super low offer, there's going to be offers. Absolutely. Maybe none of them are accepted because they're not getting to the point that the buyer really wanted. The seller really wanted in the first place. Right, yeah. And you also don't know. Like, I always come back to the example of my neighbor across the street from my house. He's the only house who's sold in 3 streets for like a year because he was very old. He had to sell because he was going somewhere where they could manage it better, and it's a much smaller place that he could manage. He had to sell. Him and his wife had to sell. They were actually moving out of the province, and he paid like, I think, $180,000 in a sack of potatoes for that house. Okay. So, because he's been living in it, he lived in it for 30 fucking years. Yeah, okay. Like, I mean, like, we bought it 30, maybe more, maybe like 32 years ago he bought it. Okay. I'm thinking, 38, maybe 38.
What did it sell for?
$180,000 in a sack of potatoes. That's what
No. What did it sell for now?
1.8. But every other house on the street and on that street, on our street, the street to the left, the street to the right, they all start over $2 million. So, but if he had his mortgage paid off 15 years ago,
Yeah.
So for him, it's just putting a fucking check in his pocket. Okay.
Yeah.
Him and his wife, they're just putting money in their pocket.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got one foot in the grave and the other in banana peel. Okay. So, I mean, you don't, that 1.8 million is going to just go to his kids eventually, right?
Yeah.
So,
It's just inheritance at this point.
yeah. So he's motivated to sell. Him and his
Yeah.
wife are motivated to sell. And he didn't need to get over $2 million.
Yeah.
Because he did pretty fucking good.
He just, yeah. Him and every single homeowner boomer in this.
Yeah, it would be nice. That would be
province.
nice, right? Yeah. So in answer to that question, in theory, in Ontario and British Columbia, it is a buyer's market.
Yeah.
But every offering strategy by the seller can create multiple offers. If you list a house cheap enough and it's a nice house, you're gonna get some offers. It's that simple.
I think every homeowner has an idea of what they want for their home, right? And
Sure.
if they're not desperate to sell, why would they like just give
I
in, right?
I got 2 houses on my street. They're still listed, and it's been over a year. So
Ooh.
yeah. So yeah.
Thanks. This one says, I have a new construction condo coming to finish in June of 2025. It's 625 square feet, 1 bedroom, 1,300 per square foot. Great builder. Will I be in trouble? Not a dog crate condo.
These guys listen to the show for sure. So he's saying, mine is good. Mine is not a fucking dog crate condo, you fat fuck. Don't call it a dog crate condo. All right, so look. The tiny condos, in all likelihood, we'll cover this in a little bit more depth in a minute, but like, if the whole condo space, don't get me wrong, I don't think luxury condos, which have a completely different market.
Yeah.
I think if you've got like a 1,200 square foot condo, 2-bedroom, prestige building, wraparound balcony, ultra modern kitchen,
The whole 9 yards.
that's a different product.
Right.
That's people who want to live downtown on that. It's probably on a particular street people want to live on.
For sure.
You know, in a very particular area. It's sought after, and hey, because guess what? You're gonna have to be paying about $1,200 to $1,400 a month monthly, you know, and another, you know, $10,000 in fucking property taxes. So Jesus, I mean, that's a very, very high snack bracket to try to buy a condo in.
Yeah.
I think those guys just live in a different world.
Oh,
That's a
yeah.
different group of people.
For sure.
So, but if you're at the 1-bedroom 6 and change, you're just above dog crate territory, you know, at 500. Okay. And I'm not saying you might not have a great property there, but it's still 1,300 a foot. When I guarantee you, when you come to close, there will be the same unit that is 4 years or 5 years older than yours, but the same square footage, same street, probably same roads.
Identical.
And floor plan will be about the same.
Yeah.
Okay. And the building might not be the greatest in the world like yours is, but it might be fine.
Right.
Okay. And I guarantee you they're going for $950, $925. So the sad but truthful reaction is,
Right.
yeah, I still think you got a little bit of a problem next year.
Yeah.
It's because, hey, I'm starting to see a bunch of sales in Toronto, right in 416, downtown. I'm starting to see a lot of sales at 900, which means the next break point is into the 8s, right? So you're going to be like 875, 850 if people really have to move those condos. So I think that other than that pure luxury category, which is an entirely owner-occupied building, I think there's still trouble. And there will be trouble next year. It won't stop. That's for sure. Okay. Yeah. All right. So here's an important note because we're starting to get calls at Butler Mortgage about this. And we're starting to get inquiries about the CMHC change, where you're going to be able to get buy a much bigger product, a much bigger home. 1.5 million is the new limit. People are saying, well, what should I do? I really want to start looking. I want to do this, I want to do that. Hey, sorry.
Hold your horses.
December 15th. That's it. Okay. Well, what about if I did this? What about this? Look, here's what I know. That purchase agreement that comes in on December 16th, if it's got any date on it in November, I'm going to suggest to you, or like there's a big whiteout and somebody's changed. Like, I'm going to make this strong suggestion that you will be caught. Okay. Like you just have to wait. Okay. And somebody said to me, well, okay, then I'll wait and I'll I'll look around, I'll do a lot of shopping, and then I'll wait to the 15th, and then I'll do it on the 16th or whatever. I'll do perfectly safe. And I said, that's good. He says, yeah, but I'll want to move in by the end of January. Sorry? I mean, like, that may work out, but the
If
place,
it's an empty
if it's
home.
an empty home, yeah, but I mean,
Gonna kick people out in 2 weeks.
You're gonna find that the people who you're buying from have other ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, it's just a word of warning. I'm not telling you not to do it. I'm not telling you to do it, because people inevitably. Here's one thing you learn in the mortgage brokerage business:
They're gonna do whatever the fuck they want.
they're gonna do whatever the fuck they want. Yes, Jan, you've seen enough already.
I have learned that very quickly in this industry. People are still going to do whatever the fuck they want.
And you can tell from the tone of voice, she has seen it.
I've seen it firsthand. People are interesting.
Look, people just want what they want, and here's the thing I say over and over and over again. If you only do one transaction for the first time, you've never done it before, it's a brand new thing. I mean, you're going to have some wrong assumptions, and it may not work out perfectly.
Yeah.
You may not thoroughly understand it. You've never done it before, so that's the thing about the mortgage game. Even if you got a mortgage, you may not look for a new mortgage for 7 or 8 years. Okay, and I don't think you're going to memorize exactly what happened when you did it 7 years ago.
For
so
sure, yeah.
you're gonna need some help. I think probably you're gonna need some help. All right, so what do we want to? I want to come back to that for a minute. Like, we're gonna have a lot of stimulus in the new year. Your point you made earlier. We're gonna have lower rates. We're gonna have a whole different CMHC regime. You can buy a lot more with 10% down. So we're gonna see there should be some reasons, right, to see the real estate market heat up.
Right.
Is that fair? Okay. And I don't know that answer because I don't know just how much of a recession, how bad the economy will be in the spring. There's sort of a race between those two things. There's good positives for the real estate market, but there's also negatives for the economy itself. Yeah. So, but here's what I will say. I absolutely believe that in Ontario, particularly in Toronto, GTA, and in Vancouver, I believe that we will see a completely different dog crate condo market people still get mad, but okay, tiny condo market. We will, for those sub 500, sub 400 square foot units, which are thousands of them are coming on stream in Toronto.
They are.
Thousands.
I'm surprised. Like, I guess it takes a while for them to, sell and then start the building process. But I feel like now a lot of them are in we're starting to build process. And I look around and I'm like, I remember driving down certain streets and it's just like homes. And now I look up and they're just tall condos. And I feel like I'm not even that close to downtown to have a mini condo city in my area. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's, I'm definitely noticing it.
Well, let's be really clear on something, because you brought up an excellent point. In Southern Ontario, and all of Ontario for that matter, we got to understand this. For the last 6 years, 75 to 80% of all new builds are high-rise. So that's important to understand. But I will tell you this. I believe that the real estate market, that very small condo that's designed with lousy layouts and had really only ever meant for rentals, okay? I believe that market will have to experience severe pressure, continued pressure on price and on ability to sell and on ability to close for the new ones. I think that will continue no matter what happens to the rest of the real estate market.
Right.
Whether that be the large condos, whether that be all the low-rise townhouse, semis, single detached, I think that market could absolutely experience a bit of a pickup. Again, it's a race with the bad economy.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that couldn't happen with all the stimulus we're seeing. But the dog crates, a guy did a cartoon about it. Did you know that?
No.
Like online? A guy put a family inside a dog crate and sent it to me on X. Yeah. He says, "Is this what you mean, Ron?"
Oh, no.
Oh, boy. Well,
there's a family living in a dog crate now, and they're like, fuck.
I don't think anybody alive could ever imagine a family in a 385 square foot. It's like a hotel room, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. We come to our favorite part of the program.
What the actual fuck?
And we have a doozy for you. You know that term, right?
Yeah, I've heard it before.
Did I tell you where doozy comes from?
No.
Okay. So that term, that's a doozy, which means it's like unbelievably, wildly, hard to believe. Normally it meant good. Okay. In the old days, it meant good. Okay. Now it just means shockingly wild. Okay. But when I was a kid, it meant good. And what it comes from is actually a car. So in the 1930s, 1920s and 30s, one of the most luxurious brands of car was a Duesenberg. That's the name of the brand.
Okay.
And it was the most beautiful car to this day. When they come up for auction at these famous vintage car auctions, it's always got a huge audience and a huge bidding on that car, this Duesenberg, okay? So in the 1940s, in movies, people like, I'm not going to name the actors because you've never heard of them in your life, okay?
Try me.
It's like Humphrey Bogart.
You lost me.
Clark Gable.
You know.
Nah. Like I said, I promised you would not know these people, okay? But I think it was in, I think actually it was in a famous movie that you've also never heard of called It Happened One Night, that Clark Gable actually used the word, that's a doozy. He used the phrase, that's a doozy. So that's where it comes from. I'm a fountain of useless fucking ancient knowledge. Okay, so.
Facts 101 with Ron.
You got it. So, all right. I got a doozy for you. A fucking unbelievable. There's a guy there's this guy who does a podcast, and he has this, you know how you have sound effects in the podcast? I'm going to get this fucking sound effect.
I think we can set this up.
I think we're going to get the sound effect. Because what happens is when something is absolutely wildly wrong, this guy hits the sound effect and it comes out, what be the fuckery? Okay, that's what he does. So I'm thinking, that would be great.
God.
That would be great for the show. I want to get that for the show. So this is incredible fuckery. Okay, so let me tell you, this is about our wonderful federal government. Now, I gave my shout out to the two good guys. Thank you guys. I'm not taking it back. You're good guys. I'm going to go to a whole different department. This is not the Department of Finance, okay? In 2000, the federal government initiated a gun buyback program. You may have heard of it.
Yeah, I remember
you heard
that.
of it?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And so the guns they decided were bad. They were going to offer to buy them back, no questions asked, to get bad guns off the street, okay? The program is a 5-year program. It's over next year. And they were doing a bit of an audit on it and reviewing it. And they have so far spent $68 million in that program.
Wow, okay.
So how many guns do you think they got off the street?
At least like 20,000.
20,000 guns? Sounds
least,
about right. Yeah. Like you'd have to
yeah.
give like 100, 200, some odd thousands. You'd have to give nobody would just give up their gun for fun, right? I mean, it's got to be some motivation.
It's gonna be, yeah.
So I'll give 20,000 is a good guess. I've had other guesses. I've had as high as 40,000. I've had as low as 10,000. I will give you now the actual number of guns that have been paid for by this program.
Okay.
The actual number is 0.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding. The answer to the question is sweet fuck all guns.
You know what? At this point, I'm not even surprised.
Hold on. But wait a second. No, hold on. Like, they've spent $68 million on this. Okay, like there's guys who had to design the apps. Does that sound familiar? The app scam thing. Okay, like
Arrive scam.
is this another app scam? There's consultants had to be paid. There's the developers of the app that no one has actually used it. Okay,
not a single gun was
not
retrieved.
one. It's the correct answer is 0 has been bought. Okay.
You know what?
Salaries, infrastructure, consultants, fucking app developers. They developed an app so you could buy this gun. I'm not sure if it actually works. Maybe that's the problem. It doesn't work. Okay. And the program's actually going to be over next year. So that's $68 million lit on fire by the federal government. By the way, this is not me inventing this shit from the internet. This was CTV. Wow. CTV published this story.
Wow.
Okay? So it's fact-checked by big media. It's correct. By the way, the government gives CTV money, so I don't think they would make a lie up about the government. Okay. So folks, I want you to think for a second. How many kids who should participate in this before school meal program or free lunch program.
Yeah.
How many kids could that have helped? How many disabled people could that have helped?
So many programs that have been cut are healthcare, anything. It could have gone to literally anything.
You could have bought a couple of more CAT scan machines. Okay, well, there's so much you could have done. We have $68 million, folks, that did absolutely fucking nothing. Fuck all nothing. 68 million.
At this point, news like this, like, I'm not even surprised. I'm just disappointed. Like, it's...
Hey, listen, despite two good guys in the Department of Finance, who I'm continuing to be grateful to, we need some kind of fucking change. Okay,
yeah,
like,
this is too much.
We can't be lighting money on fire like we are. It's gotta end. Anyway, folks, next week.
See ya.
If you like the pod, well, don't just sit there. Go to YouTube, Apple, Spotify, and all the other ones and like the pod. And don't forget to subscribe so we can keep being angry at mortgages and swearing about mortgages. Angry Mortgage could use your support.